everyone, it's Kara Dixon with Candid with Kara, and we are doing Candid with Kara virtually because of coronavirus. Today, I am joined with Qasim Rashid. Qasim, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you for having us. It's great to be here, and it's good to see you as well.
All right, and can you tell me what you're running for?
I'm running for Congress as a Democrat in the 1st District of Virginia.
All right, and who are you? Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, what you want voters to know about you?
I'm your next door neighbor. My full name is Qasim Rashid. I'm an immigrant to this country. I was only about 4 years old when we immigrated here, and we left a country that pretty heavily persecutes us for our faith. And that's really informed the way I kind of look at the world. Today, I'm a human rights lawyer. My wife, Aisha, and I have been married on almost 13 years now. We have 3 wonderful children, aged 11, 6, and 4. And I've really just dedicated my life towards supporting marginalized communities and doing what I can to serve my neighbor and just make life better for those around me.
All right, and what made you want to run? What was the moment when you're like, I need to run, I need to do something? What was that for you?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm a human rights lawyer, and I've dedicated my life towards supporting women who are survivors of domestic and sexual violence, supporting children from lower income communities, marginalized communities, helping them get healthcare and education access, combating wealth and income inequality. And when you're an advocate, you're able to help one person or a few people at a time. But eventually you get to a point where you realize that there's a broken system that's harming people. And as a policymaker, you can fix those broken systems. And so for me, that point really came a few years ago when I realized that I've been given this blessing of education, of being able to speak to the masses. Now it's a matter of transforming my advocacy to serve humanity into policy to better serve humanity, to better serve my neighbors. And that's really where this view of running for office came into play. And when I thought about it, I did what I think any self-respecting man would do. I went to my wife and I asked her permission to let me run for office. And when Aisha said yes, that's when I filed to run.
All right, and why should people vote for you? What makes you stand out against other people that are running?
Well, I think it comes down to a couple of key things. One, I've been through the struggle that so many Americans are going through today. I was 15 years old. I remember our family of 6 living in a 1-bedroom roach-infested Section 8 apartment, relying on food stamps to make sure we could put food on the table. I've been working since I was 15 years old and full-time throughout college to pay my own way, make ends meet. And today my older brother is a U.S. Marine veteran. I'm an attorney. My younger siblings are successful in the business world. So I've come out of that struggle. I know what that struggle looks like. But I also know that as difficult as things were for us 25 years ago, they've gotten worse now. And so when I look at the struggle of my neighbors and I look at the work I've done as a human rights lawyer over the last 10 years plus, I've been in the trenches. I know what it's like to not have enough to pay your rent or not enough to pay your bills or decide whether you're going to buy medicine or diapers. And because I've experienced that, because I work with people on a daily basis to elevate out of that poverty, those difficult situations, I believe that I can connect with our voter base, with our constituents, and know firsthand exactly how to help them elevate. Not because I know better than them, but because I've experienced what so many of our neighbors are experiencing right now.
All right. So are you ready to do some rapid fire questions?
This is the fun part, right? Yeah, I'm looking forward to
it. Yeah, hopefully it's fun. First question. What do you think is the biggest issue the country is facing right now?
I think fundamentally a lack of trust in government. Congress has an 11% approval rating. The president is in the 30s. There's been a fundamental lack of trust, and that impacts everything else because people don't know whether to trust the government on things like healthcare, on things like infrastructure, on the economy. And so we need to restore public trust with public servants who serve people, not billionaires and special interests.
Okay. Second question, kind of like the first question, what is the biggest issue Virginia is facing right now?
I think wealth and income inequality. Virginia is number 1 for business, but dead last for workers' rights. 1 million Virginians don't have paid sick leave, for God's sake. We need to raise the living wage and give working families a fair shot at the American dream.
Okay. Third question. If elected, what do you hope to accomplish?
I hope to be a champion for the people. Our campaign rejects all corporate money. We are fully focused and 100% funded by the people. So by doing that, we can fight for a living wage. We can fight for broadband internet access. We can fight for healthcare. We can fight to make sure there's dignity restored to the office, because you'll have a champion who actually serves the people, not corporations.
All right. Third question. Sorry, fourth question. Clearly it's a Monday. What can residents do to make Virginia a better place to live?
Expand your compassion. Our campaign has launched an initiative called Compassion Through Action, where we are providing groceries, food and water, even masks to folks who are struggling. Even before this pandemic, 1 in 8 Virginians were food insecure. So if you are fortunate enough to have a good income and stability, reach out to your neighbor, make sure they have enough to eat. You will never feel bad about erring on the side of compassion. So take that extra step and show as much compassion as you can.
All right. And these are the easier questions. What's your favorite book?
Fiction or nonfiction?
You can say both.
I think fiction, To Kill a Mockingbird. It's just a fantastic book, and it just takes me back to my childhood when I read it. And as a lawyer now, it just resonates so much more to me. Nonfiction, I think I'm kind of guilty of sticking on these issues that impact working families. So I have to go with The New Jim Crow by Dr. Michelle Alexander.
I have a confession to make. We had to read To Kill a Mockingbird in high school, and I never finished it because I had knee surgery around the time we were supposed to read it, and I guess I was out of school for 2 weeks.
Well, I'll do it.
Yeah, but I know what happened, so that counts.
You just that game. I think you.
Okay. Don't tell my English teacher that I had. But if you could meet anyone in history, who would it be and why?
I've thought about this question a lot. I think I'm torn between 2 people. One is Mark Twain. I loved his satire and wit. He mocked government. He mocked, corruption. His jokes punch up, and I just love the way he put things in perspective. Obviously, I love his books, and then also Harriet Tubman. When you just think about the level of courage that she had and the level of compassion that she had to live the life that she lived, it really escapes words, the kind of person that she was. And I would love to just sit down with her and just find out what made her tick and hear it from her.
Yeah, she was pretty awesome. So, and last rapid fire question.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, what did you want to be?
Astronaut. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to walk on another planet, and I still do. So if I ever become a billionaire like Elon Musk, but not crazy like him, I may invest in a mission to Mars or something. But astronaut, hands down.
Yeah, we had a few people that have wanted to be astronauts, so I think that's like the most popular answer.
I think it's also because we live at a time where it's not so far off anymore, right? I mean, God knows if we live to be 60, 70, 80, but if we do, commercial space travel may be a pretty affordable thing.
Or anything like you've been doing during quarantine, like any new hobbies or anything, or?
Well, so there's like the serious side, and then there's like the relaxation side. Like on the serious side, with the human rights work, I mentioned religious persecution. It's something that I'm very attuned to. And so right now in my birth country of Pakistan, the level of persecution of Christian minorities is increasing, unfortunately. And so I've long been an advocate for persecuted Christians, and that's something I continue to do to this day. And so in quarantine, I'm continuing to advocate as best as I can in that space. On a lighter note, I'm an athlete. I run marathons. And so I've been training during this month of fasting. So fasting all day, but still running 3 to 5 miles a day. And we're building a stone patio in our backyard for a basketball hoop for my 11-year-old. So we're eagerly awaiting for that to be completed. So, spending time with my kids, of course, my wife, Aisha, and being involved in sports is how I'm keeping my sanity, and it's working so far so good.
And you guys are homeschooling, well, the virtual learning with, all the other parents. How's that? How's that going for you guys with
Yeah,
3 kids?
it's just amazing how seamlessly kids understand technology. There's the old saying that if you have a technology issue, call your kids. If it's a severe issue, call your grandkids. And just to see my 4-year-old daughter just pick up technology as if it's a language that she's known for 100 years, it's just remarkable. So the remote learning, the virtual learning, our kids are good with it. Now we're also fortunate to have some really amazing teachers who have amazing abilities to keep the attention of a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old through a computer screen. But our kids are enjoying it. They obviously miss their friends. My 6-year-old is the most, I think, empathetic one out of all three. And so I saw him just kind of staring into a mirror the other day, just depressed. And when I picked him up, he hugged me tight and he goes, Abu, the coronavirus is ruining my life. I miss my friends. When will this go away? And it was heartbreaking, but that's the hard part. But overall, though, our kids are good kids, and they're hanging in there.
Were you from Chicago? Like, did you live in Chicago? Or are you from there? Or
Yeah, so we immigrated to the U.S. We were in the D.C. Virginia area for a couple of years, and then we went to Chicago, and I spent the majority of my childhood and young adulthood there. And I went through first grade through high school, college, and then about 11 or 12 years ago, just after we got married, my wife and I moved back out here to Virginia, and we've been here ever since. So we were in Richmond for about 5-6 years, and then we've been up here in Stafford for about 5 years now.
okay. So how did you survive the Chicago winters?
It's funny you say that because that's actually what ultimately told me I need to leave. Literally every winter, I'm like, all right, next year I'm out of here. I can't take this anymore. I had this stretch of like 4 years in a row where in February, where it's like the most like bitter, cold part of the year, I got a flat tire, like almost on the same street or on the same day. And I'm like, you know what? This is a sign from God. I need to get the heck out of here. Like changing a tire when it's 20 below zero, it's a form of torture. I swear to God, if there's a hell that exists for me, it will be changing tires in the frigid winter every single year. So you don't survive, you layer up, and you just try to get through it as best you can. But frostbite is such a real thing. And then imagine running in that weather. Like I imagine marathon training in that weather.
I wouldn't do it.
It gets really cold. And the crazy part is in the summer, it gets so hot that you're like, it's never going to snow again.
Yeah.
It's just as hot in Chicago in the summer as it is in Virginia.
Yeah.
What sports did you play?
Basketball, volleyball, and track. So,
Really?
but I was a sprinter, so I wasn't a long distance.
I was the opposite. I couldn't sprint for the life of me, but I could go at the same pace forever.
The longest I did was the 400. Like I was on the 400 relay.
Yeah. What was your best place?
Ooh, supposedly a
Did you break 60?
58, 59.
Pretty incredible. Wow.
But I was the slowest one on my relay team.
I know.
Which is crazy.
I mean, some of these 400 people, they drive me nuts. Like I had a friend of mine. We called him we called him Black Lightning because he was Nigerian and like 6'4", and the guy ran like a 48.7.
I know, yeah.
Just nuts. I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, there were 2 girls on my team that, because we won states my senior year for the relay, and they ran, I think 2 of them ran 2 sub-55s, and I'm like, I'm just here to help.
So my fastest open quarter, I think was like a 58.8 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then I ran a 202 half mile.
Yeah.
So I would just stay at that same speed for. I had a top gear that I couldn't go much faster, but I could stay that for a long time.
Yeah, which is good. I would have passed out. Like I would have made it.
Yeah. Well, I think the 800 I read is the most difficult race in track because it's not long enough for you to pace yourself, and it's not short enough to be just a short sprint that's anaerobic. Like you need oxygen, but you're still sprinting as if you're doing a 200. So it gets really difficult.
Yeah, the girls' distance coach, she was always like, you would be a really good 800 runner. And my dad would tell me the same thing because he used to coach. And my junior year, I was like, okay, I'll run the 800 my senior year. And then she quit So she wasn't there my senior year, and I'm like, the deal was voided. Like, I don't have to do it.
But if you're running a 58, 59, 800, that's I think you're not in the you're in that perfect position where you can shift from 800 to 400 to 800 and still maintain like a 205 or 206 800, which is incredible.
I didn't
And
then I was a sub for our 4x8 team my
Okay.
sophomore year.
Okay.
Just because I just wanted to go to states. Like I just needed a reason to go and stay for free. And so they're like, "Will you give me the sub?" And I'm like, "Hopefully no one gets hurt because
any excuse to go. Who doesn't want to go, right? I was an alternate my my sophomore year, and then my junior year we missed qualifying for state by 1 second as a 4x18. It was such a bummer because qualifying was an insane time. It was like 8:05 was qualifying.
Oh wow, yeah.
And the best we had run was like an 8:27, and we all ran the race of our lives. And then our anchor went out at 51 seconds for the first quarter, and then died the second quarter, and came back at like 72 seconds on the second part of it, and we missed that one. It was not that it's a painful childhood memory or anything.
Not that I don't remember it all these years later, right?
Not that I just I scream about it, but whatever. Just
you wake up with like nightmares from it still.
It's funny. It's one of those things where I'm like, God, just 1 second. That's it, just 1 second. Whatever.
Yeah, I still do have nightmares about track. Like the nights before, I would always get anxiety and be nervous the nights before, and then I still like will wake up sometimes like, there's a track meet tomorrow. Like, no, I've been out of school for 10 years. What are you talking about? So.
Well, like for me, it was always a fear of just like, so we missed that by 1 second.
Yeah.
Then the following year, we missed a state finalist trophy. But if any one of our top 5 had run 5 seconds faster, if all 5 of us had run 1 second faster, we would have finished with a state trophy. And so we were that close to a state trophy in cross country the following year as well. So that was like the story of my life, a day late in the second trophy. Yeah. So I'm asking for your vote on June 23rd as a representative who is funded by people and who has dedicated his life as a human rights lawyer to serving people. And once elected to Congress, that's my commitment, that I will continue the work I've done for over a decade and continue to serve the people. So I hope to have your vote on June 23rd.
All right.
All right.
Great.
Great.
All right. Let me stop it.